Welcome, Steelers Syndicate. Today we're going to be talking once again about the guards that we're bringing in and what Saint Vincent is going to be like when we get ready to training camp. This is going to be fun and exciting. We brought in our second former Eagle guard in Isaac Seumalo. And I want to point this out because as we brought the Eagles into our front office, specifically into our player personnel side, they have knowledge about who they had. And let's have some expertise and use these two signings, Herbig and Seumalo, as ways to see, are they just homers, this is who they saw, or is there really something there that made Seumalo the best free agent guard by virtually every standpoint you can look at? So very excited to see that, and I'm even more excited because that's putting now four bodies into this left guard argument. You know, in my Herbig video that I did last week, I brought up about the concept that you might be considering bringing Dan Moore in to play left guard because he played more left guard in college than he did left tackle. That's completely off the table now. Delete that. Seumalo is the real deal. This is going to be an absolutely incredible signing. Now, that being said, it makes me really wonder what the future of Dotson and Herbig are. Obviously, both of them just signed. And are they going to essentially be the floors that they could be, which essentially is your LeGlue inside backup lineman? You obviously need to have at least two of them on your team. But as I was believing that an angry Dotson is a great Dotson, this to me is going to be the thing I'm going to be watching the most when I'm on the hillside in Latrobe. Because Dotson is like a caged tiger. When he is put in a position where he has to attack, he doesn't just attack, he kills. And bringing in two outside starting guards, plus himself, he has to be in full-fledged attack mode, potentially for his career, but at minimum for the starting spot here in Pittsburgh. There is no downside to the Herbig signing, and there's even less of a downside to the Seumalo signing. And the reason is both of these contracts are completely escapable. You know, this is a thing that Khan gets so much credit for, and he keeps delivering over and over again. These contracts, while bringing in key free agents, are not marrying us to them for the long-term future where we can't get rid of them. And it's amazing to be able to do that in this era of free agency when guaranteed money is becoming more and more prevalent. Sure, there's guaranteed money in both these contracts. Not trying to disagree with that. But what it is, it's limited enough and structured in a way where they're cuttable. So that if the player personnel department is giving Tomlin players he flat out doesn't want, we're not stuck with them anymore. And furthermore, there's also abundancy in options. This offensive line is not as bad as it was sold to be entering into the camp. It improved as the year went on. The right side is solid. The right side is a top half of the offensive line. And if Moore can step up and become able to take the penalties out of his game, he's very solid. Moore is not physically the problem. Mentally, he makes some mistakes. Way too many false starts. But given the fact he's playing left tackle and who he's normally blocking against, his holding rate is completely acceptable. In fact, it's actually above average. He doesn't get blown backwards, and he's not a liability in the running game. So I think the Steelers are doing this perfectly. And to me, they're also tipping off that they're going more into faith with Dan Moore. And I love that. To me, that's what this signing says. Entering into this free agency, they could have addressed either left tackle, it's still going to do it through the draft, obviously, but either left tackle or the left guard spot. And by bringing in the two interior linemen that they got, to me, it is a beacon that says they are believing in Dan Moore. And it also leads me to believe that we're getting close to the end of the offensive side of the ball for free agency and potentially meaningful draft picks as well. Because as I look at the Steelers here, the wide receiver room they're not going to touch. I broke that down on Friday why they should not. Tight end, they do need to bring back Gentry. And I apologize for everyone in that episode. I did not say Gentry. I said Spaeth. I apologize for that. But the other fact is, they weren't that different, really. I mean, go back to all your Spaeth memories. Go to your Gentry memories. They're not that different. It's just the newer, upgraded model. So as I was saying here, the offense looks like it's set, and this is what it is. And the entire part of the offense is going to be the development of the scheme. Particularly, are we going to have a sophomore slump or not out of Kenny Pickett? And out of George Pickens, for that matter. So, I look at this telling me two things. First off, we're going to be able to run the ball now. Assuming Seumalo wins the position, which is now my odds-on favorite of being our starting left guard in week 1. And the trickle-down effect means that either Kendrick Green or Dotson will not be on the team because I don't think they'll hold all three of them. I believe one of those two are going to be gone because I don't think Herbig is questionable that they would cut him unless he hasn't recovered from his injury. But one of those three, Kendrick Green, Dotson, or Herbig, therefore is off the roster. Which also says something to how competitive this was, that you had 3 starting guards last year and one of them got cut off your team. We couldn't even imagine that 2 years ago with our offensive line troubles that we had. And now we're going to be cutting other teams' starters. That's an amazing mark of accomplishment that we need to look at and recognize. I get that offensive line isn't always the sexiest thing, but when we're looking at that, it's a fantastic position and upgrade to be in. So who benefits from that? 2 obvious answers, Mr. Najee Harris and Kenny. So the fact that this is the left side, protection up the middle, I would love to see us take more rollouts out of our game. I know that it's a Canada staple, but Kenny Pickett doesn't do it very well. And I'm going to be breaking this down a little bit later in the week about why this is important. But sufficient to say for right now that if you're rolling out and you don't reset your feet, you don't throw as accurate of a ball. And Kenny Pickett has a really weird problem that after he does a rollout for the following 3 plays, he doesn't set his feet. And again, if your feet aren't set, you're less accurate. You also can't put the ball downfield as much. So I will be responding to the comments that we've been getting about, does Matt Canada be the guy to fix this offense? Will this offense open up? I've had about 6 different people say that in different ways. Get ready for that. That'll be actually tomorrow's episode as we're going through it. So I want to invite everyone to give us your comments. I do love using them in future episodes. I will not be responding to them, writing them out, as I've told you guys before, but I will just discuss them overall. And in terms of any arguments of how things are written in the closed captioning, that's a YouTube thing. I do not write these out. That's by their algorithm. So just to let all you guys know about how the names are getting spelled wrong, I'm not the one writing them. That's a YouTube thing. Go talk to them in their features. But we do enjoy you guys being with us in today's episode, and we'll be with you tomorrow talking about the Matt Canada future of how this offense can open up and what needs to happen to take this team to the next level.